All right, everybody, welcome back to the number one television program in the history of the entire universe. I am Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon, The Blackest Heart, and The Lonesome Crown, all three books published by Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. Today I'm going to be reviewing both the book and the movie East of Eden by John Steinbeck. So I've got, the Blu-ray here. I've got this version of the book. And then I have this other version of the book right here also. So let's talk about the covers first. We'll talk about the book covers first. And then we'll get into the movie a little bit. And then the books themselves. So I've got the two versions here. Book cover. This book cover was done by an artist named... well, we'll start with this one. This one was done by an artist named Mick Wiggins. So it's kind of colorful. I like it. The spine I'm not too thrilled with. This book here was a cover done by Andre Davidson with the little scratchboard drawing of the tree, representing the Garden of Eden. It's very symbolic. There's the nice garden and then the dead garden, okay? And because, it's a Steinbeck novel, and this one's kind of got the same kind of theme here. The bright tree and the dark tree with the dark figure. Very symbolic. This is literary fiction. This is like classic novel type stuff. So there's a lot of metaphor and allegory and all sorts of stuff in these books. Now the book itself, before we get into the movie, the book itself, we'll put this one over here. The book itself starts, it's kind of like a 10-page, lovingly detailed description of the California Salinas Valley and Monterey, California area. We get a great look at the type of prose that Steinbeck is known for. Just beautiful, gorgeous writing. Literary writing, seems like every sentence has a double meaning. And as he's describing this place, he's setting the scene for our literal Garden of Eden metaphor, in which our Adam and Eve, Cain and Abel-esque story will play out through the books and kind of the movie. So let's talk about the movie itself, which I loved the book. I hated the movie. I don't know. I was bored. Maybe I just wasn't in the mood for it. But the movie literally only covers the final fourth of the book, maybe the final third of the book. It doesn't even deal with anything that came prior in the book. This movie with James Dean, which came out in 1952, the book came out in, which one came first? The movie or the movie? The book definitely came first. They both came out around the early 1950s. I don't know the dates on either. The book, I think, was 52. The movie was like maybe 54. But anyway, it starred James Dean and then the lady that played Kathy, the Hua, won Best Actress or something like that. But anyway, I watched this movie, and was just like, they only did the final part of the book. I mean, they did the Cain and Abel story. The movie is about the Cain and Abel story. The book itself is about the whole Adam and Eve, Cain and Abel, like generational kind of a story. So we won't talk about the movie too much, just because I was just like, James Dean, whatever. People thought he was good looking and talented. Yeah, he might have been talented. I don't know if he's good looking or not. He seemed very short. I don't know. I'm not like the tallest guy, but he seemed shorter than me. He was shorter than everybody else in the film. Not that that means anything as far as good looks go, but I'm just saying I was like, kind of didn't like the character in the movie at all. Whereas in the book, everything was better in the book. So let's give a thumbs down on the movie and just set it aside and not talk about it much anymore. Let's talk about the book. Because the book, we meet very early on. The book starts in the 1800s. The movie takes place in the early 1900s. The book starts in the late 1800s, where we get to meet this generations of families. The Hamiltons and the Trasks. Now, the Hamiltons are an Irish family from Ireland. The Trasks are from Connecticut. the Hamiltons are a big family. They're poor. They're kind of like humorless type people. The Trasks, they've got money. They are very contentious. They are brawlers. They are abusive to each other and abusive to everyone they meet. Now, the first 70 pages of this book, a bit of a slog as we get to know these two families before our main characters really set in. So about 70 pages into the book, we get a lot of little vignettes of these different families and how they're getting settled in California, in the Salinas Valley, in Mount Monterey, different places, how they're interacting with each other. Now we do get in this kind of slog of an opening some kind of poignant and fun scenes. I remember the one that stuck out to me was when the grandma wins a contest to get to fly in a plane. And this is back in the early 1900s, like planes had only been invented like 5 years, and they're going to fly her up in a plane, and she's terrified. It's just a charming scene, a horrifying scene, but charming nonetheless. And I was just like, okay, these are the little nuggets that John Steinbeck puts into both The Grapes of Wrath and East of Eden. They're not really part of the overall story or plot, but they're just great little scenes and character building moments that I love in literature. And Steinbeck did a great job. There's that one that I just mentioned, plus many, many more. Now, like I said, the first 70 pages of this book, I can understand why the filmmakers didn't do anything with that. Why I kind of understand why the film should have been 2 films. The film should have been about the Adam and Eve story, film 1, and then film 2 should have been about the Cain and Abel story. This is based, the film they made was just the Cain and Abel story. So anyway, 70 pages in, you're kind of like ho-humming your way through this book. And then everything takes a turn with the introduction of 10-year-old Kathy Ames, who becomes swiftly, she turns into a twisted Stephen King-esque character of like evil, and just everything in her life is wrong. She has a bad childhood. Her childhood is gruesome. She turns up to be a gruesome person, but ends up being kind of the Eve in the Adam and Eve story a little bit. She's a devil of a 10-year-old girl when we first meet her, and then that's when the book really picks up. This book itself is sort of when Kathy is on stage, whether she's a little girl or an adult or a mother, she is just the center of attention in the book, and you can't stop reading about just the terrible, awful ways of Kathy. I mean, just. And then we've got, of course, our Adam character, and they have these 2 boys, Cal and Aaron. I was going to say Cain and Abel, but Cal and Aaron. Cal, of course, is the Cain character. Aaron, of course, is the Abel character. And they aren't born until about almost halfway through the book. And Kathy is their ma, and it just goes bad, and it's very, and I mentioned kind of Stephen King-esque. This small town of Salinas, California, and then Monterey also figures into this. It's really Steinbeck. He wrote this way before Stephen King was literally even born, probably, and but it's everything that you love about Stephen King's small town stories, like Salem's Lot or It, or all of that, and the horrors and the way people treat each other, and just the way the story is told. If the Steinbeck book East of Eden is very reminiscent of that, even though this came first. If you like that kind of story where there's just a lot of drama in a small town and a lot of secrets in a small town and some just crazy, bad, wicked characters in a small town, and then some noble characters and some in-between characters and just wild characters, East of Eden is got all of that drama in spades. But like I said, you got to get past the first 70 pages till Kathy comes on scene. And even then, you got to get to about halfway through the book or before, the Cain and Abel characters. But I mean, this is a metaphor of the book of Genesis. Of course, the Garden of Eden. I mean, it's called East of Eden, for sakes. I mean, he's like spelling it out. He's not even being subtle about what he's talking about in this book. It's how, like a good man, how long does a good man put up with a bad woman? And how long do brothers who are rivals go before they each other? I mean, it's kind of like that. And it also got a lot of political things in it. Now, I will say, we'll go back to the movie. Even though the movie kind of captures the final third of this book, even then, the movie isn't really that accurate of a portrayal of what's going on in the final third of this book. Like, there's so many differences between. It's almost like this movie is based loosely off the final third of this book, if you can even say that. I mean, there's a lot of similarities, but I mean, I just went in a lot of different directions. That's why I didn't like this. Didn't like it. I'm probably gonna put it in the garbage, like literally right after this video. It's probably going to go right in the garbage. I didn't like it. Now, I am going to watch the Grapes of Wrath movie soon with Fonda, I think, who was in it. Because I liked that book. I just reviewed the Grapes of Wrath also, so I want to watch that book too. Not watch that book. I'll edit that out. Watch that movie. Hopefully that movie's better than this movie. Some of you are going to hate me for hating this movie, but you know, I liked the book. The book itself, I'm going to give a solid 9.5 out of 10. It's definitely something everybody should read. It's Steinbeck. Steinbeck is, I think I might just start buying all the Steinbeck stuff. Maybe we'll do a mid-month book haul of all the Steinbeck books I may or may not buy this month. But anyway, East of Eden, the book, thumbs up, 9.5 out of 10. East of Eden, the movie, right out.